$1,000 fine for chewing gum?
Why is it almost impossible to buy chewing gum in Singapore? Picture this. You land in one of the world's wealthiest, most modern nations. You step out of the airport. You head into a regular convenience store, and you want to buy some gum. Just the standard kind. But it's not there. Not at the counter, not on the shelves, not in the vending machines.
Wait, is it true?
Because for over 30 years, you simply haven't been able to freely buy regular chewing gum in Singapore. And no, it's not for health reasons, and it's not about the environment either. The real reason is much more fascinating. But to understand it, first, you have to understand Singapore itself. Today, Singapore is known as one of the cleanest and safest cities on the planet. You'll rarely see any litter. You'll almost never find graffiti. And it's nearly impossible to step on a piece of gum stuck to the pavement. But it wasn't always like this. Just a few decades ago, this city was completely different. A struggling port, overcrowded neighborhoods, dirty streets, high crime rates, corruption. This young nation had almost no natural resources, no oil, no gold, no vast territory. In fact, the country had only one resource left, its people. And that's when Singapore's leadership made a decision. If they couldn't be the richest nation, they would become the most organized one. Order couldn't just be a suggestion. It had to become a part of the culture. And that is exactly how the Singapore we know today began to emerge.
It's so beautiful here.
By the late 80s, the country was going through a true technological boom. New skyscrapers appeared, modern neighborhoods, expressways, and one of the most advanced subway systems in the world. Automatic doors, electronic sensors, computerized control. It was the nation's pride and joy. But it turned out, even the most modern technology could be defeated by a piece of chewing gum.
Next station, Marina Bay.
Some passengers started sticking it everywhere, under the seats, on the handrails, under the tables. But the most serious problem started in the subway. Gum was being stuck directly onto the automatic door sensors. The sensors would fail. The doors wouldn't close. Trains were delayed. People were late. Every single day. At first, the authorities tried to solve the problem the soft way. They put up warnings. They launched public awareness campaigns. They introduced fines. Metro staff cleaned the stations every single day. Engineers constantly replaced damaged parts. But nothing worked, because when millions of people use a system, even if only a small fraction are breaking the rules, it's enough to cause daily breakdowns. And that's when the authorities realized one simple truth. Sometimes it's cheaper to change the habit than to fight the consequences forever. In 1992, Singapore made a decision that shocked the world. The free sale and import of regular chewing gum virtually came to an end. The solution wasn't to raise fines, install more cameras, or hire more cleaners. It was to eliminate the root cause, rather than fighting the symptoms. And here is the crucial thing to understand. The gum itself was never the real issue. It became a symbol. Because one person might say, "What's the harm in just one tiny piece?" A second person thinks the same, then a third, then a tenth, then 1,000. And very quickly, a minor habit multiplied by millions turns into a crisis for an entire city. Singapore didn't choose to fight the gum. It chose to fight the mindset. Just this once won't hurt. When this news hit global headlines, many thought it was a joke. Journalists laughed. Comedians made fun of it. Tourists were baffled. And Singapore was labeled a nation of overregulation. But a few years passed, and the results became undeniable. The city gradually turned into a global symbol of cleanliness, order, and efficiency. Yet the gum ban was just one tiny cog in a much larger machine. For decades, Singapore has been building a nation where the rules apply equally to everyone, where public transit runs like clockwork, where government services are lightning fast, and where order is seen not as a restriction of freedom, but as a prerequisite for a functional life. That is exactly why today, Singapore consistently ranks among the least corrupt and most effectively governed countries in the world. But there is one fact that almost everyone gets wrong. Most people are convinced that chewing gum is completely banned in Singapore. That's a myth.
Make sure to read the instructions on the back.
In reality, the law primarily targets its free sale and mass commercial import. If someone needs therapeutic or nicotine gum to help them quit smoking, they can easily get it at a pharmacy from a registered pharmacist, following specific regulations. To this day, this law sparks intense debate. For some, it's an example of extreme state control. For others, it's proof of how a single, unpopular decision can transform the lives of millions. But perhaps this was never about the gum in the first place. It's about a choice. What matters more? The absolute freedom to do whatever you want, or a city where the streets stay clean? Singapore made its choice.
Look again. The world is more interesting than it seems.